Hey guys, welcome out to the range. I'm getting ready to go out and do some target maintenance today, and I've got my gear on me. Whenever I come out here to do target maintenance, I always make sure that I've got at least a handgun or a rifle with me, because I routinely see really large scat turds out here on the roadway that goes along here, and so that tells me there is rather large wildlife out here. So I want to make sure that if I stumble on something when I'm in the woods, that I don't suddenly go, "Gosh, wish I had a gun." But the other thing that I'm testing is the IC-13 invert bandolier, which has pretty much become standard equipment for me now. And very soon I'm going to be carrying them on the website, hopefully. We still have to work out the details on that. But anyways, what I wanted to show you about this is that when you are working with the invert bandolier, if you come slightly out of your sling, keep it around your neck, grab and unhook the side strap that goes under the armpit, you can grab the bandolier and you can actually bring it around. And for today's purposes, let me make sure I don't accidentally clack my lift hatch. I have the carriage bolts in here that I'm going to be using because I'm swapping out. When I say target maintenance, I'm painting them and I'm swapping out damaged hardware. And then I've got a wrench in here. Plus I've also got some medical in here, but I've got medical on the front of the sling pack too. But anyways, this is a efficient way to carry stuff with me. And when you want to put it back in place, you grab the bandolier, drag it back around, and I always set the bandolier up a little on the tight side because I want it to actually cling to me. And then when you get back in your sling, make sure you've got range of motion. Whenever you're painting, make sure that your rifle is to the rear so that you don't accidentally get paint on your optic. If you do get paint on your optic, you need to get on it immediately. Don't let that stuff dry because you're going to be in trouble. One of the things that you can do to mitigate that is while you're doing this task, put a tiny little film of oil on your optic lens, front and back, and it will let you get paint off in case it gets on there. I actually keep baby soap on my lenses because it's an anti-fog coating, and it in and of itself kind of creates a bit of a coating that I can get things off with, but I wouldn't trust that. Anyways, we're gonna go out and do some maintenance and some painting, so let's go. A lot of you have asked before about the targets that I use, which is why I'm doing this video, because many times you guys see the target from a distance and you don't realize just how chunky these targets actually are. The first set of targets are my Action Targets PT Hostage Swingers. I've had these for years, and they have had so many rounds put on them that I honestly couldn't even begin to count it. These things have been abused. These plates have been repeatedly welded and repaired because people keep hitting these with rifle, which is why you can use rifle on them, but you have to know how to work with these targets with rifle. Most people don't. They like to hit them with AKs, they like to hit them with 16-inch barreled rifles, and it just causes too much damage, so I have handgun caliber only written on them. Hey, I'm Puerto Rican, my people know spray paint. Right about now, somebody got in the comment section and got offended on behalf of Puerto Ricans. I always love it when I tell people that I'm Puerto Rican and they go, "Oh, hey, do you know the..." And I'm like, go ahead. Ask me if I know the Jimenez, Lopez, Sanchez, Rodriguez family. Do you know how big Puerto Rico actually is? I was doing a video the other day and accidentally hit the hostage. Go for the good shot. Remember guys, that the other reason that I do paint is because paint actually protects the steel from pitting and galling, and these targets are old, so I try to keep paint on them whenever possible. Alright, next one. You know, I love it when I see marks like this. Makes me wonder who in the world has been touching this target. Clearly, I'm not the only one out here shooting. And for those that are going to get in the comment section and make a comment about that, this is not a public range. This is private property. So not just anybody is allowed to be out here. I just bought this 4Runner the other day. But this is going to be the first time I've actually tried to wedge myself in here with all this junk on me. So this ought to be interesting. Honey, I promise I'm being nice to the vehicle. Wow, that's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay. Low suck quotient. That's good to see. Actually, you know what? Let me show you guys something real quick. This is the dilemma that you have when you're working with tactical gear while sitting in a vehicle. Let's imagine that this rifle's had a lot of rounds put on it and it's really hot and sizzly. You don't want this touching the seats or the floor because it will melt things. You also don't want it touching you, which is why you'd be careful not to do that because you'll end up burning your leg. I'm also wearing the support gear that goes with this, including the revolver pack that comes with the band, or that is an additional piece for the bandolier, which today is actually very useful because they've got tools in it. So I do this type of thing every once in a while because it's important to wear your gear in your vehicle to know what it's like to actually drive with this junk on. Typically speaking, if you're wearing armor with a backpack, all you do is take the driver's seat and recline it a little further back, and the backpack and the armor essentially becomes the new back of the seat that you sit into. So that's the easy way around wearing a bunch of junk in a vehicle. I mentioned this in a video already, but this is a two-wheel drive 4Runner. If it were a four-wheel drive, the four-wheel drive controls would be right here. And I'm going up, you know, halfway decent embankment right now, but there's actually a hill that I can show you guys later on that is pretty stout. And I have no problem driving this vehicle up and down. Would I try it when it's muddy and iced over? No, because that's too much to ask out of two-wheel drive. But for the vast majority of the time that I'm out doing stuff, two-wheel drive does it just fine. All right, short story time. Many years ago, I had a Honda Accord and parked in a relative's driveway, and my a relative that was riding with me, I said to them, please close the vehicle, and they didn't, and a cat got into the vehicle and sprayed the vehicle, and that vehicle never smelled the same again. And we were young and poor back then, and for years I drove this god-awful vehicle with the stench of cat spray in it. No matter what I tried, I couldn't get that funk out. So whenever I get out of my vehicle, and I'm telling you this, whenever you get out of your vehicle, close the hatch so that wildlife doesn't get in your vehicle and have its way. Come on. As we're walking through these woods, I want to point something out to you. When you're out and about doing training, maneuvers, whatever, consider losing a piece of equipment in this type of environment. So for example, if my sights, my light, my optic, if all these things were not torqued onto this rifle correctly, I would run the risk of losing them. And I can tell you from personal experience, I've watched guys have equipment on their guns, not do torque specifications the way they should. Hey buddy. And end up losing pieces of gear, sights. Sorry guys, I heard something over there. And like I said earlier, we've got a lot of wildlife out here. Anyways, I've seen guys lose stuff, and so I always say this to my Padawans: make sure your things are torqued on properly with Loctite and a torque wrench, because you don't want to lose things. Anyways, so here we have one of the guys who's out in the woods, and this guy just basically lives out here. It's challenge targets, rifle target. I have him properly oriented, and actually, yeah, I can tell by the concave nature of this guy that I actually flipped him recently. This used to be the front of this guy, and it is now the back because it was time to rotate him around to get a clean side. That's why I like challenge targets. You can actually rotate them. And I think this hardware is actually good. Yeah, those bolts are still in good condition, so there's no point in changing those out. But I come through every once in a while and check stuff. You also want to make sure the life of the 2x4, because you can tell how this 2x4, this right here used to be on the bottom. Now it's here on the top. But you just grab the target and make sure that everything's holding just fine. But yeah, this target's good to go. I'll just put a little paint on it and we'll move on. Make sure that your rifle's off to the side, which mine is, so that you don't accidentally get paint on it. Yeah, those bolts are not wiggling. I'll show you later. There's one where you can literally grab the head of the bolt and you go like this to it, and it'll probably just pop off with little stank from my knife. I'll show it to you when we get to it. But yeah, this target's good to go. Move on to the next one, which is over there, which is in the direction of the sound of critter. I know we have bears, mountain lions, and of course, you know, the usual stuff like raccoons, wild hogs. Of course, I shouldn't be so trivial with the wild hogs, huh? With these guys, you can actually see where I shot this the other day, and the bullet luckily went right between the bolts. So like I showed you earlier, you do that, and the bolts, there's no popping from here, the bolts are good. To service these, you can either take a knee and service them, or you can just tip them back. In fact, I'll kind of turn this sideways. I'll show you guys. You can take the target, you can tip it back, and the legs, you rest them on the backs of your caps. And this allows you to control the target out in front of you, so that you can put paint on. If you have your gun in an appendix carrier, which I don't today, you would just place your support hand over the glass and put your coat of paint on it and move on to the next one. Good quality steel targets matter, guys. I use, with the exception of the action targets that I've had since I was a magazine writer, I use challenge targets. I've either paid for or bartered for a bunch of targets from challenge targets. To be clear, if I'm bartering by creating media for the gentleman that owns this company. And trust me when I tell you, when I create media, I have way more time in money, you know, and dollars than I actually have in dollars. But sometimes I've got more time than I have money. So please understand, I'm just like you guys. I don't have corporate support. I spend money, I invest money on the things that matter. And challenge targets is something that I really like. I have lots of them for a reason, because they're high quality. Look, a forerunner in its natural habitat. What's up, bro? This guy right here is one of my oldest targets. That target's been flipped over a couple times already. It's got a bunch of edge chips on it. These are some target bases that I made. Oh man, that's dried out. That is dried out. Oh no, I'm gonna have to put that back in place. The target base here, I'll show you real quick. The target base on this is one I made years ago with a high density polyethylene base, and then a target base that I welded up, steel plate with steel 2x4, and it does its job very well. And it sits right here and it mocks you. When you come around the bend, you catch this target, and this target mimics, this is an A-zone by the way. This right here is an A-zone, which we're talking about this area right here. So you come around the bend, you see this here, and this small target makes you slow down, focus, and get your hits. This is actually a target from a project that I did years ago called CQB Safe, which is a target that I designed years ago that was designed to be shot with a rifle, quite literally at point blank, without spitting back. I just couldn't get an insurance writer to get the thing covered so I could get it produced. So I don't know, maybe someday I'll actually produce it. But anyways, so these are actually welded. The original holes where the hardware would go in here smoothly are actually welded, which is why you can see the cracks in the steel, because whenever you weld armor plate, it ruins the temper of the steel. So this portion here is no longer bullet resistant. Everything from about here down still is, which is why I can routinely hit it with a rifle and it doesn't really cause all that much damage to it. For those that don't know, M193 55 grain coming out of an 11.5 inch barreled rifle. This is a 13.7. The velocity is high enough that on impact, you can kind of see there how the metal's actually just gone. It acts like an acetylene torch on impact. It just vaporizes the metal. It is so, the hit is so grievous. Ironically, everyone's worried about 62 grain steel M855 penetrator. Guys, that stuff is a cream puff compared to this stuff. That steel core, because the weight of the bullet is 62 grain as opposed to 55 grain, the velocity is lower in that lower threshold. Guys, please don't get in the comment section and go nuts. I know what I'm talking about because the owner of this company and I were talking about this several years ago. And when he said to me, because he has all the data, and when he said to me, you do realize that 55 grain causes way more damage than 62, I said, yeah, I know. He goes, how do you know that? I said, because I've been shooting steel for ages. I was one of the few people in the firearms industry as a magazine writer, because remember guys, I predate social media. I predate Instagram. I predate social media. And so back then I was a magazine writer and I had my own range and I was constantly shooting steel. And I was noticing patterns very quickly that certain rifles, certain barrel lengths, and certain bullets were causing way more damage on steel than other things were. So 77 grain OTM out of a 16-inch barrel, it's horrendous on meat. You get hit with that bullet, it's horrendous. But 55 grain coming out of a 13.7, 10.3, 11.5, 14.5, 16, whatever, 18.20, it is phenomenal the damage that it causes. But M855 steel core, nah, not too much. All right, give it a little coat of paint, and we shall move on. Moving on. To give you an idea of that humanoid target that I was showing you earlier, it's out there at roughly 50 yards. It's a relatively challenging shot, especially if I've got you bouncing around trees and stuff, so it's a fun target. What do you guys think? I'm going to call this Forerunner Wharf. Let me know in the comment section. If you don't know who Wharf is, shame on you. The reason I have no concerns about taking this vehicle in rough terrain is because for years I've driven minivans and my two-wheel drive pickup truck up and down these roads without any problems, and I've never really had any major fears of getting stuck, so I didn't have a problem at all buying a two-wheel drive vehicle when I bought this Forerunner. And you cannot imagine the money you will save if you get a two-wheel drive Forerunner. Wait till we hit that hill. Wait till you guys actually see just how steep that is. Next! I'm amazed that thing is still standing. It's been moved a lot by hits. It's supposed to actually be wedged in here. There we go. It's supposed to be on a rock down here, and it's kind of like supposed to push back into that tree. These are nothing but a bunch of volunteer pines that when I first started coming out here years ago weren't anywhere near this big. This stuff has grown very quickly. This guy is my faller. Sometimes he falls, sometimes he doesn't. Ow! just like the other one, this too was also part of a project, so the target got welded over, and I'm pretty hard on these. I mean, just the 2x4s are all jacked up. It doesn't matter. All I want is a good hit and I can move on. I'm not really picky about it. Every once in a while you gotta let off, otherwise you end up getting it on the camera. Next! This is actually a target that I have on a volunteer pine. The bracket, I just slid it right down over this branch and has continued to grow. I think when I put it on, it was right here, and it's continued to grow past it. The hardware is in good condition because I can tell it has no bullet hits, so by default it's in good condition because there are springs behind this that take the impact. So all you do is just put a coating of paint on it and move on. We've got one more down here for this area. Luckily the snakes are in hibernation at this point, so I don't have to worry about that. This guy is tilting this way, but that's okay because there's a branch here that's held him. This has been standing here for probably 5 years, so it has never once fallen. So all I do is come down here periodically, give it a coat of paint, and move on. See ya, buddy. On to the next position. You'd be amazed how quickly your front sight post will take a chunk out of something in a vehicle. So if you're working around a vehicle that you like and is not a sacrificial vehicle, move slowly and be nice. You guys see this line right here? That little bit of a trench at the base that's being dug. When the bullet hits, it fractures and heads down like that and is creating that much damage on the ground, which is why, unless if I'm intending on shooting a target, if I'm intending on shooting a target up close, I actually reverse this so that the target is canted to the rear so all the energy goes up. You know what? Is this the problem child? Nope, that's not the one. There's one of these out here somewhere. I think it's up there where the hardware is damaged. I've got to replace it. Because somebody who will remain unnamed, Ben, shoots way too fast, Ben. That guy's seen better days. Next! I'm glad it's no longer tick season, because I've stepped into that area right there before and gone home and found all kinds of critters. This right here, guys, is why I tell you that wearing your gear for extended periods of time, doing tasks other than shooting. Hang on a second. We've got stuff stuck in the door seal that I don't want to drag through the door seal. There we go. Way you mitigate that is you start rolling forward and then close your door. Anyways, wearing your guns and gear while doing administrative tasks is a really good way to know if your guns and gear are going to work for you, because call it bug out, call it whatever, that time, that thing in your head where you're going to be wearing a rifle for protracted periods of time, consider what that's going to be like. Consider, guys, get in your vehicle, make sure you're safe, make sure you've got an unloaded rifle, but point it up at the windshield. Can you cleanly get this around the dash of your vehicle? Can I get this in this cabin, moved around in this cabin without gouging the cabin? And the comment section just blew up. Okay. I want to show you. Notice how steep this hill is that we're getting ready to climb. Two-wheel drive 4Runner. Here we go. And D and drive. None of the technology, which you can control some of the technology with this button up here. Everything is active. Everything is running as it should be. Notice I'm not doing this particularly fast, just slowly creeping uphill. The rear wheels are doing their thing, slipping and the computer's grabbing it. Turn the wheel, neutral, parking brake, let it relax on the parking brake, and get out, do some more work. Yeah, that's steep. Have I mentioned just how much I love my 4Runner? Yeah, so a little flexing there, not much. I had a windshield chip yesterday fixed. I'm glad I did, because whenever you flex the body, you can crack. A little chip can all of a sudden become a crack, so I'm glad I got that taken care of yesterday. I hope you guys understand that one of the reasons that I do this type of video is to let you guys know you can do a lot with a little. Did I want a TRD? You bet your bippy I wanted a TRD. But I also don't want to be paying $55,000 for a TRD. I got this one from Hertz Car Sales, as in, yes, Hertz rental car. Hertz Car Sales for the price point on it was $32,224, 29,700 miles and change. And by the way, Hertz Car Sales, the price you see is the price you pay, and the only additional fee is like a $650 document fee. That's it. So think about that. So there isn't the mandatory couple grand sometimes that gets added by a dealer, and then tax, tag, and title. So I ended up, because I'm a gold member, I ended up getting $350 off the doc fee, which means this vehicle was under $32,000 with, once again, 29,000 miles and change. All because I went through Hertz Car Sales rather than a local car lot. So guys, think about it. If you need a good vehicle, think about it. I honestly don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but there are some white barrels laying over there. And that's the 300-yard mark. So to here, you're hitting a humanoid target from 300 yards with a tactical rifle. So you cannot expect any real level of accuracy. That's all this is. This is a tactical rifle. But the fact that I can hit you from that distance with what is essentially a short-barreled rifle, because even though this is drilled, pin, and welded 16.1, it's still only 13.7 inches worth of barrel. And I've done this with 11.5 inches of barrel and 10.3 inches worth of barrel with an extra 100 yards. So, oh, and now the comment section has comments on it about bullet velocity. Well, I think that target is still good. I don't think I need to flip that around. Those bolts are in good condition. All right, we'll give it some paint and move on. You can see why I don't like people shooting fast. Edge hits begin to degrade because these are laser cut, and as the laser goes around the edge, it weakens the steel just inside that edge. And that's why edge hits will always chip on steel targets, because the steel here on the edges has become brittle from the overheating process of the laser. Same thing with plasma. The only way to get a steel target that is true all the way to the edge is a target that's been cut on a water jet. But water jetting steel is very expensive, which is why companies typically don't do that. Man, you guys are watching the sausage being made today. All right, that can's empty. The reason I'm doing this video is some of the most meditative video that I've ever watched is watching Adam Savage working in his shop. Do I not have 1, 2, 3? Must be that one. It's watching Adam Savage working in his shop. I love watching him build stuff. It's just really relaxing. And anyways, I figured you guys would enjoy this. Figured you would enjoy this about as much as I enjoy doing it. I like sharing my craft with you guys. I love what I do. I wish I made more money at it, but I do okay at it. And every time that you guys buy a sling and my email goes ding, I'm like, yay, another sale. And it's kind of cool because I've spent so many years building Tier 1 Citizen, the brand, that it's really neat that you guys actually recognize it. And now there are like knockoffs that have adopted the Tier 1 Citizen name, so, and the Tier 1 name for that matter. But anyway, somebody said to me a while back, post the video, stay out of the comment section. No, because that's how I learn. Being in the comment section is how I learn. You guys teach me so much. By the way, what I'm doing is when I'm transporting to the next target, camera comes off, tripod gets partially collapsed and lays in the back here. This tonneau cover is normally pulled over and covering the stuff in the back, but for right now, it's here. I love how these Forerunners sound like a freaking tin can. I love it. Oh, I love this truck. I know I'm not the only one that's noticed this, but the Forerunner... Hang on a second. Yeah, I hear you. Hang on. Let's check where my wheels are. Let's check what the attitude of the wheels is. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to right that just a little bit. There we go. This little monitor right here, the steering angle, is so cool. So once again, no spin out, right? The vehicle is just, it's just wired for this type of terrain. Nothing real special needed. Plain Jane Forerunner. What a beautiful day. What an absolutely beautiful day, guys. Humidity's low. It's kind of cool, which is why I can get away with wearing long sleeves. Man, it's a beautiful day. I'm out here doing what I love doing. All right, I know I've got damaged targets back here. These are Manfrotto targets. They're really pricey. I've had these for years, and I think this is the one. Yeah, there we go. Manfrotto, Manfrotto, and nothing there. You know why? There are two legs. For those that know Manfrotto targets, you understand that Manfrotto only puts their name on one of the three legs. This one has it on two because that base, this tripod has been hit before, sucked up a bullet through one of the legs. So when these came off the production line several years ago, or I'm sorry, when these went out of production several years ago, I tracked them down on eBay and bought one, and I pillaged legs off of it as legs get damaged. But I've got two of these, and they have gone through numerous rifle classes with me. Here we go. The first target that greets you when you walk in here is that guy right there. Because we drive up to here, park, get out, and I tell the shooter, all right, we are heading into another battle space. So you enter here. Oh, by the way, I should show you this. There's a truly ancient soda can or soda bottle. That bad boy right there is glass. And that's from back in the day where soda bottles had a foam covering on them. So that's been there a hot minute. All right, this is one of my old school A-zone targets that's been in use for a long time. And that one did not get welded. So we're gonna inspect the hardware on it, see how it's looking. Hey man, we are good. Yep, we're good. Rifle around to the back. People always ask me if there were only one steel target I should buy, what should it be? I can't answer that for you, except to say, I can't tell you a target to buy, but I would tell you a type to buy. I'd buy rifle only. All of my targets out here are rifle rated. I've taken up, there are more and more people coming out here to this property. I'm not going to tell you where it is. There are more and more people coming out here to this property to shoot than previously. And my targets just keep getting shot to hell. So I've taken up all of my handgun targets and stored them at home, and all I've left behind is rifle grade targets. So that when the occasional donut doesn't pay attention and hits a target with something they're not supposed to, at least maybe the target can survive. So, but this type of stuff is expensive, guys. Steel is worth investing in, so yeah, get on it. I've said this many times in recent days. You need to be spending time with your firearms, becoming as acquainted as you can with them, and part of that is wearing them while doing tasks. Obviously, you know, if you live in the suburbs, don't be wearing your rifle and plate carrier out in the front yard because that's cool. But when I'm out here doing maintenance work, I'm wearing stuff like this because this mimics what it would be like if I have to be in an environment where I have to wear this stuff at all times. I am not big on armor, mostly because I used to wear armor for a living and I understand intimately what body armor does to you. I understand intimately what it does for you because I used to be a surgical assistant before I was a cop. Before I was a cop, I worked in healthcare. So I understand what body armor can stop bullets. I get that. But I also have spent enough time talking with former military and listening to what they have to say directly to me and also kind of tangentially in conversations. And I know that there are a great many people who say, yeah, body armor is great, but your benefit versus detriment is like this. You know, your benefit is here, it stops bullets, but the detriment to you as an operator is just really high. Body armor is heavy, so body armor by default makes you top heavy. So when you go to stop, when you go to bring up, where's my other target? I've got another target over there somewhere. When you go to bring your rifle up to take a shot, you have to stop. And when you've got armor on and all the stuff that goes on a plate carrier, you end up doing one of those. And someone's going to say, whoa, you need to spend more time in the gym. Shut up. Oh, dear God, shut up. Mom's got your Hot Pockets. Be quiet, go away. I'm not the only one saying this. I've heard people who are 30-something and fit who have said this, who have said, if you add weight wears you down. And I used to have a really nice plate carrier with polyethylene plates, not even steel, polyethylene plates, which is the lightest armor you can get. And that stuff just wore me the hell out. Used to be a cop, and I lived in armor every day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week. I lived in armor, and then I had supplemental heavy armor for call-outs. There was a bunch of misery, but I wore it. I wore it every day, every day. And this is before the days of the removable vest that cops get to enjoy now, where you get to the squad room and you get to shrug out of your vest and hang it on the back of your chair and just like chill for a little bit, like literally chill, like cool down. I was old school cop, Class B uniform. When the weather got cool, Class A with a tie. By the way, I loved it. I really think that that's the look of the cop. What we have going on now looks more like a Praetorian Guard, and I really don't like that. Armor is a good idea until you have to wear it for protracted periods of time, and then you find out just how much it sucks. There it is. You find out just how much it sucks. And it wears you down. It dehydrates you faster than you can imagine. And while it does stop bullets, oh, that was rotten. Where'd my steel go? There it is. While it does stop bullets, I just find that I'm better. Look, there are people who are just now coming to the truths that I've already known for a long time, and they're putting out well-produced professional videos telling you the very same things that I'm telling you and that I've been telling you for a long time. And some of those people are guys who used to come to me years ago when I was working in the industry for different manufacturers, and they would be contacting me asking for material support. So, you know, it's neat to see that they've actually come up in the ranks and have changed and gotten better at their skill. So they're learning. Well, now come on. I know I've got a target out here somewhere with broken bolts, and that one isn't it either. Jeepers, that's an ugly hit. Ben, this is you. Slow down. Ben's laughing right at me now. He knows I love him. Ben's a good guy. You know what? We're going to flip this one over because that's an ugly edge hit right there. So we are going to flip this target over. Let me reset that camera so I can give you guys a better view of what's going on. Okay, I'm about to do considerable surgery. Really? I'm about to do considerable surgery on this target. And someone would say, you may want to take your rifle off, because if this target plate falls and clips my rifle, it'll take a chunk out of it. But, so yeah, I could take it off, but what's the problem that I create if I take this off and I set it down? Let's say that we are not doing just target maintenance. Let's say that we're doing something far more involved. Let's say that we are in an emergency situation and I am fixing a vehicle. And I'm not in an area that's particularly secure. So anybody could be out here watching me right now. Do I want to separate myself from the superior weapon? Most especially in the scenario that I'm in right now, which I don't even have my handgun on me, it's in the vehicle. Do I want to separate myself from this? No. So keep it on my person. This is where the Tier 1 Citizen 2-point sling comes in handy. It's already set up to draw the weapon in. So all I do is rotate it around to the back and it stays there. It's on this side of the pack, so I have to keep track of that. Whenever I need to bring the pack around, I have to make sure that the rifle is clear. So to bring the pack around, the first thing I do is bring the sling to my neck, unhook the shoulder strap, and I can either go this way with the IC-13 bandolier or drag it forward, which is the one I'm going to choose. Bring this around to get my hardware out. Back in, store it at the rear. Alright, the way this works is I have to loosen this just a little bit, make a little bit of room here. Come on, let loose. There we go. I'm going to lock this in place. Now I've got room to work with. Actually, that hardware I believe is good, so we're going to leave that alone. Whenever you open something or take something out of your pocket in this kind of environment, be looking while you're doing it. If you drop something in this environment, it's gone. All right, hardware comes off. The nuts come off. Washers come off. And the plate slides right out. Washers go in place. Make sure your feet are far clear, because I've had these come down before and they are very unforgiving when they do. These are lock washers with the nylon in them, so no Loctite is necessary. So your only real expense with these is the bolts themselves periodically. This morning I stopped at Ace Hardware and picked up 6 more, only to find that I already had 4 in the 4Runner. What you're looking for when you do this is just a little bit of protrusion, about 1/4 inch of protrusion of the bolt through the back. I'm sorry, of the bolt through the back of the nut. Create the tension. Notice the standoff right here. You want to create the tension so that when a bullet hits, it sings and lets you know that you've got a hit. And that's all you need. Now you just put a coat of paint on it and rock on to the next one. Okay, all right, that's done. I'll give it some paint and we will move on. Rusted steel is very thirsty, so this is going to take several coats. All right, brand new plate, ready for some more work. Put it back in position. Let's keep moving. A lot of y'all have asked me about the bandolier that I'm wearing. It's an IC13 bandolier. And IC13's product date on this refers to it as the bandolier redefined. I can honestly tell you that I 100% agree with that. I've been very impressed with it so far. And I'm hopefully going to start carrying it on the website pretty soon. Why do I feel like I'm missing a target right now? I was going through here the other day, walking along, jaw-jacking to the camera, and had that target been there it is. Had that target been a bad guy, I would have been dead, because I just like strolled right past him. This guy came down on me recently, so I briefly had him connected to that tree. And I brought some more hardware out here and brought some self-tapping screws and mounted them. This is one of the ones that was welded a while back. So, these are great targets. I love them. Had them forever. Put a bunch of rounds on them. Yeah, this is the better side. The other side has been hit several years ago, I was out training at a friend's range, and there was a guy who, like, you know, just came out of the military, like he knows his stuff, right? And he starts shooting these with an AK, and I go, stop, dude, stop, stop. Unreal, unreal. Yep, I just heard the comment section get stupid again. I'm not one of the people out here who thinks that the military is the best trained and best armed. Nope. The best trained and best armed people in America are you guys, private citizens. The Tier 1 citizens, which is why this channel is called Tier 1 Citizens. How do I know this? Because many moons ago, while I was still a popo, and I was in the infancy of learning, I went to Tactical Defense Institute for Tactical Rifle or Tactical Carbine 1, I forget what it's called. And while there, there were like 22 of us in the class, and there was this husband and wife team down on the far left. And I say team only because they were paired up together. He and she both came with plain Jane 16-inch barreled, one of these rifles right here. They both came out to this class, blue jeans t-shirt, ball cap, and this is back in 08, 09, something like that. Back when tactical was simply all the rage. And these folks, there we go, that's the broken one. These folks came out with like nothing. Just the basics. No optic, a very rudimentary light on the rifle, and they cleaned everybody's clock. And it was really impressive watching them because, man, they knew their stuff. They worked flawlessly together, and it was really neat to watch them. And in that same class, there was a soldier who, when asked, would you follow an order to disarm the American public? When he was asked that question by the head instructor, his response was, I would follow any order given. I would follow any order given to me. And you should have heard the class. Woo-wee! Everybody, me included, was lit at that point. And several guys actually went like this. And I was like, okay, this is getting really real really quick. And the instructor says, hang on. Let me ask the question again. Would you follow an order to strip Americans of their God-given rights? And this kid, actually, yeah, these are not sunglasses, so you can't see my eyes. This kid goes like this. I will follow any lawful order that does not violate the Constitution. And I thought, nah, sorry kid, you've already shown us who you are. You've already shown us who you are. And now a lot of us have actually seen what it is that I'm talking about. We've seen the brainless automatons who wear the uniform of the United States military, who are willing to strip people of their rights. And we saw a lot of this in COVID from police officers too, who, by the way, the cops hold way more power than the military does, because the police officer is in the front lines, and so the cop actually has far more ability to do good and evil than the soldier. And so, yeah, that was a real wake-up call for that kid, I have no doubt. He had a come to Jesus moment and realized he'd really stepped in it. And I hope that he became a better man because of it. Because that was not a good day. And that dude's face was on the main page. I actually took his photograph during that class, and his face was on the main page. Might still be there, actually. So I'm going to stop talking. But anyways, I'm going to stop talking about this. The most squared away, by the way, there's a busted bolt. So the head of this bolt is laying out here somewhere. And no doubt it is not just here, it's somewhere out there from the impact. And it was just sheared right off by a bullet strike. That's what it's supposed to look like. And it's been ripped clean off by high velocity rounds. So this is the guy that's going in this place. $1.70 a piece. $1.70 a piece, Ben. Slow down. Well, you know what? Heck, we're 50% there. Might as well do it, right? Might as well get her done. So anyways, the best trained, best armed people are absolutely the private citizens. I've witnessed it time and time again. I have no doubt of it. I'm not the only one who says it, which is why that constant push to take away the firearms, because our so-called leaders, which I just can't stand that term. Really, they're not my leaders. So-called leaders push as hard as they do to take firearms because they know who the real problem is against their tyranny. It's you and me. It's guys and gals just like us, not the cops, not the soldiers. And the cops and the soldiers are the ones who've proven themselves to be the problem children in the last several years. It's important that you not allow yourself to forget what it is that you witnessed during all the COVID shutdowns. Because we saw a lot of tyranny from law enforcement, and we saw a lot of people in the military who were willing to bow a knee and do things that were against their conscience. I don't need to hear from you in the comments section, folks. I'm not passing judgment. All I'm saying is I'm speaking facts from the things that I saw, that I personally saw. Not just things that I saw on TV, things that I personally saw. And I suffered greatly during COVID, financially and politically, in friend circles and whatnot, because I stood against what I was seeing, because I knew what I was seeing. Men and women of America are the best trained, best armed, and it doesn't take very many of us to be fully heads up and paying attention to be the defenders for everybody else, which is precisely what is going on. I really like the little revolver pack that the IC-13 Bandolier has as an option. Very versatile. And every once in a while, yeah, you kind of get hung up on it, just like you get hung up on a backpack. I've been hung up on backpacks many times. It's not that big a deal. It's part of the reality of adding crap to your body. Start adding moving parts, and you start complicating things. So, you know, what does that tell you? Like, the best combat outfit is a pair of Speedos and a rifle. Someone's like, no, I don't want to see Abner in a Speedo. Neither do I. Don't blame me. For those that aren't aware, the reason I invert the can is to clear out the straw so that I can actually get all the product out of this can. You can't do this with Rust-Oleum cans because those are designed to spray in a full 360, but with cheaper spray paint, you can. You can. Can. C-A-N, can. Last target. Right out there. It's been a hot minute since I started doing this. Yeah, there's another busted one. Anyways, it's been a hot minute since I started doing this, and I'm getting tired of wearing all this crap. But it's a good bit of practice for the eventuality of having to wear this stuff. Yeah, there's another busted one. Might as well flip that one over too. camera can't convey it, but I mean, come on. This is my office. Thank you, God, for a day like today. As of the recording date of this video, I am getting married in less than 2 weeks. And we are so excited about it. And we have 67 people total, roughly-ish. It started out as a small wedding and has now turned into an impromptu family reunion, which is really cool. And so I'm really excited about seeing all the family. And days like today that I'm just really grateful for where I find myself in life. .41. I think I have just enough time to shoot the Overland course this afternoon before I head home. I like shooting the Overland course. It's really good exercise if you do it on foot, which I tend to do a lot because I could use the steps. But it's also fun to do with vehicle, because it teaches you how to expeditiously get in and out of a vehicle. Although I will say this, be very careful. I think I've already said it in this video, but be very careful when you're working around your vehicle, because you will take a chunk out of that vehicle before you even realize you've done it. I always laugh when people talk about the lifespan of the Micro T1, the Micro T2, and that new one from Aimpoint. They always talk about that really long runtime, and all they're really talking about is what is known as the trade show setting, which I'm the one who coined that phrase, and now it has become a thing across the industry. The trade show setting is number 8. I wrote that in an article years ago. The trade show setting is number 8. For me to make this visible in this light, I'm at number 9 right now. To truly be visible in the direction of some of the light spots off in the distance, I have to be at level 10. And at level 10, there's a fair amount of blooming. I'll take it back to 9 because I can make do with 9. At level 10, there's a fair amount of blooming, which is why I've said to you before, with the blooming effect of that 3.25 MOA dot, I think it is 3.25 MOA, I end up with a dot that is 5-ish, 6-ish MOA, and my 7 MOA RMR that runs on fiber optics is a perfectly clean circle. So, something to consider, guys. I've been doing this a long time, guys. When I give you knowledge, all I ask is listen. I've had several friends and a new friend recently say that I need to go to Thunder Ranch in Oregon and go train with Clint before he hangs it up. That's not a minor logistic. I either drive across the country or I run the risk of attempting to fly across the country with all the support gear and ammo, although I think you can actually buy ammo directly from them for the class. The Urban Rifle, I think, is the one that I want to do. and that one has to be done with frangible ammo. So I either ship it to them. Actually, I don't even know if that's even possible. But anyways, the point is, it's a lot of logistics to get from Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I live, to Oregon, where Thunder Ranch is. But I'll figure it out, guys, because I want to go. I want to train with Clint. Clint and I used to write for the magazine industry years ago. I used to read his stuff. And that's back when he was still active with the SWAT teams. And Clint and I, ironically, got out of magazine writing for the same exact reasons, because there's no truth in firearms media at all. Print media was bad. Print media is nothing compared to digital media. Digital media is off the chain level of obfuscation of truth. They bury truth so skillfully you don't even know which end, unless you're actually on the inside and you know what's what. You don't know what's what. So if someone stands in front of a camera and is telling you that something's good to go, dig and find out who they are, what their background is, and what their relationship is to that company. Because, I mean, look, this IC-13 chest rig, I paid for this with a bunch of dog leashes and a sling, because the owner of the company and I bartered. Trust me when I tell you, I had way more time in money. You know, money is time is money. I had way more time in producing, because I hand produce things, in producing that stack of dog leashes and sling to pay for the 2 bandoliers that I have. But I'm so glad that I did, because I really like this product, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to carry it on the website for you guys. But let's keep moving. Isn't that pretty? So from here all the way back to the Forerunner, we are looking at 250 yards, I believe, is what it is. But the longest shot you can get out here is probably only like 125 yards because of all the foliage. Like, you can barely see these targets. And when you get a landmark on them, you have to take it. And sometimes you have to like thread around past a couple of trees and small branches. And here's what a lot of you don't know. A tree branch of this size right here, so we're talking about the width of my thumb, a tree branch of this size will deflect around so dramatically that that round is not going to hit where you're aiming, and if you're lucky, it will only be slightly off. But in most realities, if your threat is any significant distance past that branch, you're not even going to hit the threat. That round is going to go wild weasel somewhere else. So that's why I like this course of fire, because it forces the student to consider the realities of working with a rifle. And working with a rifle in an environment where they have to target discriminate, and they have to hit things rapidly, and then they have to move to the next target. I'll see you guys back at the Forerunner. All right, made it back. All right. This has been a very productive afternoon. You guys no doubt will get the edited down version, which will be far more pleasant to watch than the actual experience of working it. Because I am a little on the beat side at this point. There's a lot of hoofing, and I had to come back to the vehicle a couple times because the batteries ran out on this, and I'd forgotten to put one in my pocket. I love what I do, and I like sharing knowledge with you guys. The Overland course, I have a dream of cutting a path through these woods. I just recently discovered that a friend who used to work for R&J Tactical, this company, now runs a company that does land clearing. And so I'm going to have to talk with him about the potential of making a path through the woods that is actually vehicle accessible, because I really want to share the Overland course with just more than family and friends. So many of you have asked, can I come out and train with you? Please, can I come out and train with you? And I'd love to. But I don't want to run just your typical firearms class. I want to run a class where you guys can come out and do something really unique. And the Overland course is so much fun. And I foresee a one-day class where you come out, we do a little flat range work, mostly because I need to vet people to make sure you guys are safe. Practice getting in and out of vehicles safely in a controlled fashion, because we're not talking about beat up Hiluxes in Afghanistan. We're talking about nice vehicles in good repair, and we want to keep them that way. And no, you ain't riding in my 4Runner. Bring your own. All you really need is a vehicle with ground clearance. That's it. As long as you have a vehicle with ground clearance, it can be two-wheel drive, you will be just fine. But I really want to share the Overland course with a lot of people. And I want to say this so it's understood. This would not be a money maker. Yes, I would charge, but I make more money making slings than I ever made training. Because remember, I used to offer training. I make more money making slings than I ever did training. And I'll just, look, it's simple math. $250, $300 a person for an 8-hour class, which sounds like a lot, but trust me, that's a pittance. So you're talking, let's just call it $300 a person for an 8-hour class. You come out here for, I'll take as little as 4 people. So you come out here to do a class. So I'm talking about $1,200, 8 hours. $1,200 is not that hard for me to make making slings, and far less than 8 hours. So the reason I'm telling you this is so you understand this is a labor of love for me. To share this with you guys is a labor of love. I love doing what I do. I really enjoy seeing that moment in a student's eyes where they pull the trigger at 300 yards and they hear boom, and it's like, you just did it. You did it because you listened to the instruction that I gave you, and you understood enough to be able to reproduce what it was that I told you to do. And you got the job done. You got the hit. And so many people that own firearms don't have a clue of what that feels like. They've never experienced that moment in time. And it's something that I really want to share with people because it's necessary. I haven't touched these in a hot minute. And so, yeah, they're good. And so it's something that I really want to share with folks, because I know it's kind of prosaic to say it'll change your life, but man, it's darn near that. When you go to a class where you spend time working with your rifle and getting good with it, or your handgun and getting good with it, it changes your relationship with that weapon. And it shows you that that weapon has so many more uses and has so many more capabilities for good than for evil. So anyways, I'm getting off on a wild tangent. I love what I do. I love sharing it with you guys. Thank you so much for your support of your rifle sling purchases and your donations to keep this channel independent and to pay for this 4Runner that I just got. Thank you. I appreciate your support more than you know. As always, God bless you all. Get those guns out and practice. Have a good one.